He's a busy man. He's a Hall of Famer. He wins sports Emmys. He's Ernie Johnson Jr. III, who joins us on the program. Great to have you back, Ernie. How are you?
If I had a tail, it'd be wagging, Dan.
I like it. I like it. When you look at the different jobs that you have, now you still get to work with Chuck, but when you do March Madness, compare that to working the NBA show.
Well, I think the biggest difference is Clark Kellogg, who he's so tied into the college game. He's a guy you just lean on like crazy. Because for us, we pay attention to the college game, but our focus is the NBA. So you really need to have a guy like Clark or Seth Davis in the Atlanta studio or Jay Wright, somebody like that. So that's been the biggest difference. But I think just in the terms of the vibe and how we do the show, I think it took a little while, but CBS with their, with the way they do things, they kind of said, okay, yeah, you guys can do this. You guys can be your NBA kind of guys and do your show that way. And that started, the first year, they wanted the guys in for a production meeting 2 hours before we went on the air, and Chuck said, well, that's a hard no. And so so once we got through that adjustment period, we pretty much do our thing.
But you have situations, and you had it recently with Charles, that he might not be watching what he's supposed to watch, and then you have to correct him. I don't know how college basketball fans react to that, whereas NBA fans, like, we kind of expect Chuck to go, this game sucks. But with college basketball, March Madness, can't exactly get away with that.
Oh, we're able to get away with it because we still had Kenny and Clark there who could cover that game. It's not like we were going to ignore it. But what was funny is that he looked down like he was going to really say something, like he had made a couple of notes and then realized he hadn't watched any of it. It was like a couple of years ago. Chuck has always taken great pride in his Oscar picks and says, he never misses one. And so we were talking about Best Picture, and 1918 was up for Best Picture. And so we're talking about it, and he says, I think the best picture is going to be 1918. I said, well, tell me about it. He said, well, it's your basic, you know what? I haven't seen it. And so, so moments like that, you've kind of come to expect.
When did you realize, though, that this was different with how social media was viewing you guys and the clips that are played over and over? There's a seismic shift. When I did SportsCenter, you watched SportsCenter. Now people don't watch SportsCenter as much as they'll take clips and watch them on social media. How did that affect how you guys did TNT?
I don't know if it had a great effect. I know it made it more accessible for folks who didn't want to stay up till 1:30 or 2 o'clock in the morning and watch the show. Even though sometimes it would be replayed on NBA TV in the morning. But that's the world we live in. That was, and you and I are both old enough to remember, DP, that, there may have been times where you did a show and you didn't know exactly how it was received or if people thought something was funny. And the only way you knew was if Rudy Martzke wrote about it on Monday. It was like, and now everything is so instantaneous. It's like you throw a line out there and all of a sudden you're getting skewered or you're getting praised. And yeah, it's just a different world. But you don't do it for the, how many likes you get or anything like that. You're just doing your job, and that's how we do ours.
I'm glad that we didn't have social media. Because we did it without knowing, as you said, if anybody's we didn't know ratings. We didn't know anything. And I remember the first time I found out that we might have a following or be popular is I went to the ESPYs, and all of a sudden you run into Jerry Seinfeld and you run into Bill Murray, and they're reciting lines back to you. And I'm like, I'll be damned, there are people actually watching this show.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I know exactly what you're talking about. And I was so, my story along that vein is being out in LA for a playoff game and walked away shaking my head because Denzel Washington knew who I was. He was like, I watch you guys all the time. And I was like, wow, really? That's amazing. Yeah. So there were those moments that kind of reach up and grab you. And it's like, I guess we do have a lot of folks who are watching the show.
He's Ernie Johnson, Hall of Famer, Turner Sports studio host inside the NBA. State of college sports. I know that NIL transfer portal is a topic of conversation. Where do you stand with this?
I think we all agreed that something had to be done, and that had to be a way that the college athletes who were making all this money for these schools needed to be compensated some way. But then it just went from, hey, that's a good idea to, all right, whatever you want. And it was like a 0 to 60, a 0 to 100. And so that's how I kind of look at it, is that, yeah, we all kind of agreed, but then should there be some limitation? Or is this going to just price up the smaller schools out because they can't lure anybody into their places? So yeah, I think just in that regard that, yeah, we just kind of let it happen without any regulation. And the transfer portal is I would not want to be a coach, and I can certainly see where guys like Tony Bennett and Jay Wright and others have said, it's enough of this. I'm going to work my ass off and recruit this kid, and he's going to come to my place, and now I've got to keep recruiting him as he's in my program, because he's just going to leave, if he's not getting the run that he wants or whatever. So no, it's changed everything dramatically for sure. And it's always strange to look down as I'm doing my numbers and my rosters and that kind of thing when I'm getting ready in the months leading up to this, say, wow, this kid's been in college. This is his sixth season, And so, yeah, that's kind of been the amazing part to me.
Did you fill out a bracket?
I did.
And?
It's really good.
Oh.
It's really good. I think I could have it right here. I've been in New York. I got a 2-week stay in New York for this. I did not go back to Atlanta and then come back in between the rounds, because all I'm doing is basically working on the show. So, okay, this is really good for your show that I'm rifling through here.
Yeah, it's good radio.
Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, I got 10 of the 16 Sweet 16, 7 out of 8 Elite 8, and entire Final Four.
All right.
Still, which is not bad, in my opinion. I've got Florida beating Michigan State and Duke beating Tennessee in the Final Four.
How about you let
Does
me...
that meet with your approval?
Yeah, but why don't you let me pat you on the back, not you pat yourself on the back?
I think that's a great idea. I don't know what came over me.
Do you have sports Emmys that you pack with you when you go to New York for, just so you can be in familiar surroundings?
Just a few of them.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
I know.
When's
what's bad is like packing for 8 shows and 2 weeks up here. So I've been living in this all-star hoodie the whole time in New York. So you didn't really expect me to get up and put a bow tie on.
No, I'm glad you didn't, because I had a sweatshirt on, and then I go, oh my God, I got Ernie Johnson on.
Well, no, I live in these. I would, if I didn't have to get dressed up, this would be me all the time.
Why don't you do a casual broadcast one day? You guys get to do whatever you want.
Why? Why should we do a casual broadcast?
Why not?
We have certain standards.
Oh, you do? Oh, okay. You know what?
The other guys are casual sometimes.
Well, Charles is always making fun of Anthony Davis, street clothes. So why don't you guys have a street clothes show?
All right.
An homage to Anthony Davis.
Yeah, I don't know if it would come off as an homage to Anthony Davis. That's why.
What's the biggest storyline the rest of the season to you in the NBA?
In the NBA, I think things are kind of looking a little bit clear cut as far as who's going to finish where and who they might play. I think my biggest question is OKC ready for this? Because obviously they have got a squad, and SGA is unbelievable. Now, can you get over that hump and get to that Western Conference final, and then can you get to the NBA final? So I think, is OKC ready for this step? Because we already know Boston's ready for that step. Is Cleveland ready for that step? Does a great regular season translate? So those to me are the big questions, because I don't see a whole lot of other folks who could win the title. I could see Boston in the finals. I could see Cleveland maybe in the finals if they're at home and if they get a break here and there. But out west, it's OKC, and I don't know if Houston's ready for that yet. Been fun watching them, but and you can't count Denver out if when Joker's healthy. But I think the question is OKC ready for this?
When do you know when Barkley is truly upset?
Truly upset?
Yeah, like mad.
I don't know that I've ever really seen Chuck very mad. Chuck comes in every night the same way. Hey, let's have some fun tonight, And so I haven't really seen him really hot.
Have you seen Shaq get upset?
Yeah. Shaq, I've seen Shaq get hot. One night was when we were going, he got mad because Chuck took all his time, and then he just kind of clammed up and he didn't want to talk. He didn't want to be part of the show. And we had a night where he was late for a show, and he and I kind of talked, and I said, man, you gotta be, man, I left 2 hours early, the traffic was terrible. And then the next day he didn't even talk to me. It's like I'd look at him while doing the show, and I'm asking him a question, and I'm getting 3-word answers. And then I finally just had to, in a commercial break, just had to get up and give him a big old hug and say, man, I love you. You know that. I don't mean anything by that, and then he was okay. But yeah, there have been a couple of times where he'll get a little sensitive. I don't know how mad he'll get, but he'll clam up a little bit, and then you're pulling teeth.
It's like you're a parent there.
The way it's been best described, Dan, is that I'm the dad driving cross country with these 3 guys in the backseat saying, one more peep out of you and I'm turning this thing around.
Don't make me come back there. Yeah.
That's exactly right.
Don't make me come back there. Well, who would make you more nervous, Chuck or Shaq? I guess Shaq, given the size.
Make me more nervous what? If I were to pull that?
Yeah.
No, Shaq is, I have no fear of Shaq at all. Shaq and I have a special relationship, and he always says it dates back to when I went and did a story on him when he was at LSU and he was living in San Antonio. And he's, I remember that day in 1989 when you came, and it really wasn't 1989, it was 1991. But yeah, I think that we've had a great thing going with that bunch. We really have. And so.
And what are you doing now? What are you going to do?
What am I going to do?
Yeah. Are you following everybody?
Yeah, this is the plan. This
Okay.
is the plan. Is we're going to continue to do the show.
Okay.
But it's just not going to air on TNT because the NBA on TNT is no more after these playoffs. But we'll still do the show in Atlanta.
Okay.
We'll still do it with the same production crew. It'll just air on ABC/ESPN on certain nights.
Okay. Because I think it looked kind of shaky there for a while that we didn't know what direction. You probably were left out in the cold too on this, and then if it was moving out of Atlanta, would you continue to do it?
Me, no.
Yeah. That was a deal breaker.
That's home, and so yeah, I think. Look, I can kind of see the finish line. I remember when Don McGuire hired me at Turner back in 1989, and he was like, "Man, 7, 8 years in that studio chair. That's all. You're not going to want any more than that." Now it's been 35, and so there are a lot of things to do out there, and so I can't wait for next year. Can't wait to stay with the guys, but and then we'll just see for the years after that if what comes up and what I feel like doing.
Adam Lefkoe is listening intently on that last answer.
Adam Lefkoe is great.
Yeah.
He's really, really, really solid. And so, but it's not, no, don't get this twisted. It's not like we're going to hang up here and suddenly I have retired. No, a lot of times when you're running a marathon you can see the finish line from a long way away. Not that I have any marathon experience. So it's not like I'm in this sprint and the finish line is 8 meters away. It's just that I can, when you get to this point, it's like, all right, let's see how this is looking.
They will survive without us, which is amazing, Ernie. They will.
Do you think so?
Yeah.
Do you think the medium will continue?
I don't know, but I've been told, hey, they'll survive without you. So
yeah.
I'm going to take their word for it. I'm done in 3 years.
All right. So you've made the decision.
Yes,
3 years.
Yes.
How old will you be in 3 years?
I will be 71.
Yeah.
But
I'll be 71 in 3 years.
Why don't we go out together?
That? Wouldn't that be nice? Wouldn't that would just tug at the heartstrings?
But you go first. You go first. And then the next day, I'll do it. I'm going to retire, I think, in Atlanta after the Super Bowl.
All right. So, and maybe we could do it at CNN Center where you have some roots.
Yeah, now we're talking.
In the atrium.
Yes, it'll be emotional.
With balloons and all kinds of stuff.
Yes, that'll be great. I'll do another Headline Sports, I'll do one more for the road.
Oh, man.
Maybe we bring in Van Earl Wright and get Earl to do a CNN Headline Sports.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's going to be great.
Or whatever happened to Phil Van Horn, by the way?
I think he became a baseball coach, maybe, in California.
Really?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Phil was my colleague and a friend of yours.
Yeah. Phil Van Horn.
In the day.
Yeah, I think he married a song girl from USC.
Wow.
Yeah.
You know a lot more than I do.
Well, I keep up on the song girls at USC. I'm just saying.
Phil is somewhere right now saying, "Oh, hold on. Why are they talking about me?"
Good to talk to you. Have fun. And thanks again, Ernie.